So firstly, thank you so much, Sowmya,
Thank
for
you,
actually taking the time and agreeing to be a part of Startup Grind and really, being able to share your experience with us here today and with our community. So to begin with, I'd like to introduce and give a quick brief about Sowmya's background. I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. So Sowmya is the founder and CEO of DViO Digital, which is one of the largest integrated marketing companies. They call themselves India's largest or one of the largest, but I'd say actually they've grown not just in India, but even to Africa and the Middle East. So soon it's going to be, one of the APAC region's largest integrated marketing companies. She's also been a startup investor, chief mentor. They have their own incubator space that DViO runs. So any marketing campaigns or startups that are interested, one of the great things we're going to be learning is how do you work with competition together in a collaborative manner. And it's amazing that she's also been a TedX speaker in the past. However, it's not like she took the sudden plunge into entrepreneurship when she started. She's been doing it since the age of 17. So even till the time you're figuring out which movie to go for next or how you plan the next weekend, she's actually been focusing on startups, and she had her own youth portal called 15to25.com that she was running from 2002 at the age of 17. In 2007, maybe after all the experience that she had both as a startup and in the corporate life, she started TedX Digital, which was initially a division of a full-service mainline advertising agency. And it grew into being an independent, fast-growing digital marketing company. However, as it grew, Sowmya kind of went back, bought over 100% of the company from the partners and rebranded the company to DViO Digital. As I mentioned here, DViO has a presence in 3 countries. They have a presence in India, in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, and Pune, of course, where they are headquartered, and in the UAE as well as Africa, with more than 130 experts working in various areas like digital content creation, mobile marketing, creative, media, and technology. Well, like I said, I was going to keep it brief, and I will, because I can keep talking about this for at least another hour, and that would take up all the time. So I'd like to invite Sowmya to share a little about your past experience from where it started and to where it is right now.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. I'm so glad to be here and just see the energy in the room. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Okay, so yes, as Pratap mentioned, my journey with entrepreneurship started way back when I was 16 years old. At which time I ran 15to25.com. But though it wasn't my portal, I ran it for a company called as Suburbs Systems, and most of you would have seen Suburbs. So I ran this portal for Suburbs System. I was the be-all and end-all of it. I understood what it means to really run a business in its entirety at that time. And then I went on to help my uncle set up a CAD CAM and CAE company, so completely different domain altogether. And then again, just sort of understanding what it takes to run a company. So entrepreneurship and running a company has been a part of my journey since I was 16 years old. I think what has always given me the motivation or the inspiration to do what I have been doing is to identify the why. Yeah, so it's always been the why that has driven me to do what I have done so far. So when I was 16, and I was running 15to25.com, and thereafter the CAD CAM and engineering companies called Collaborative. How many of you are familiar with the Tam Bram family culture? Yeah. So we come from very, very orthodox backgrounds, and either as you grow up, you either have to be an engineer or a doctor. And I was a complete outcast in my family. So as I was growing up, I used to write a lot, and I was inclined creatively. And when I finished my 10th standard, I basically took my family by shock when I said I want to pursue arts. Yeah, so it's blasphemous, right, to say from being from a Tambram family and saying that, okay, I want to pursue arts, I want to learn English literature. So my father basically gave up on me that day, and he said, "Isko shayad theek hai, shaadi karna hai, jaldi shaadi karwa do." Of course, that's sort of all, he's very close to me and he's very proud of me today. But yeah, I mean, you all come from certain frames of references about the world. That's how he's seen his world, and that's what he knows about his world. So for him to see me do what I was doing was very difficult. So at that time, I told myself that, I am going to. So I realized that if I'm doing something that I choose to do, then even going back to my family and asking them to fund my education or fund what I want to do was going to be a difficult task, right? So that's when I said I just got to be on my own, and I've got to, earn my own money, I've got to put my own education. So that was the why that I had when I started working at the age of 16. And then, things went on. I graduated in English literature from Suburbs, went on to do my mass comm. And then when I, got out of my mass comm education, I realized that most of the people are either going to a Delhi or a Bombay to be in the media or marketing setup, and I loved this city. I did that too. I was in Delhi for, I think, almost 1.5 or 2 years. I used to work with Hindustan Hindi, Disney, used to have Hutch in those days, Hutch Mobile. So I used to run media research for these guys through a company called as Indica Research. So there were no opportunities really in Pune if you wanted to work at a global scale, or if you wanted to work at a national level in a media and marketing setup. So people always, you had some of the best institutes in Pune. You had the Suburbs, you had the Flame, I think came up much later. You had Pune University. And then what was really happening is there was a brain drain going out of Pune to be in media and marketing. So I said, is there an opportunity then for us to still be in Pune and create a world-class organization serving the world brands and businesses? Many people don't have to go outside Pune. So that was the idea with which I started, the digital company, because digital was a background that I had with 15to25.com. So it was a portal that I ran way back when I was 16. So that was a part of my DNA. So creativity, digital, technology, all coming together. I said that's my sort of sweet spot. So this makes sense. So that was the why that drove me to set up something in Pune. And today I am so glad to say that we are one of the largest integrated marketing companies based in Pune, serving markets like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, global markets really, some of the best brands that we work with. We work with guys like, and some of the top media companies as well, right? We work with guys like Star TV. We are marketing for Game of Thrones. We're marketing for MasterChef. We're marketing for IPL teams. We are doing so much of work in travel, some top-of-the-line retail brands like Aldo, Birkenstock. So this is the profile of brands and clients that we have been able to create over the last 10 years of my journey with this company. And my vision of saying that we will be headquartered in Pune and still be able to access global markets and do world-class work has come to fruition, at least to some extent today. But of course now, so your why is also in a way transitioning, right? So now that you've come here, there's always this next milestone to look up to. So I always think success is a mountain without a top. So the more you go and you say, hey, this is where I've come, you suddenly feel, no, this is not enough, what's the next thing, So what's the next thing really drives me every day that I wake up in the morning and say, what's my next destination? So that's where we are, and I think today, now that we are where we are, I look at what we are doing from Pune almost as a global kitchen. A global kitchen serving global markets. You see that most of the outsourcing that's really happening has been in IT so far. Maybe some aspects of marketing have also started to get outsourced to India. But I don't look at this really as an outsourcing game. I see that we have fantastic talent in India today. Okay, and more so in Pune because it's known as the Oxford of East. Some of the best brains are coming out of the universities over here, right? And so I have had some really interesting benefits of having scaled up in Pune. If you go to Bombay or a Delhi, one of the key things that companies like mine fight with is attrition, right? Because there's always this people moving between organizations. But for us, being here has been fantastic because we have no competition. You don't want to move from one company to other because you're getting to do the best work sitting out of here. But I think now my why has, while I'm still working on actually making this into a center of operational excellence that can service world markets on creativity, on technology, and on digital marketing. What I have really realized is that what enthuses me, deeply enthuses me, is to fuel people's businesses. If I hear about all of your businesses, then I can tell you for sure that I'll probably be more enthusiastic and more excited about hearing what you guys do. I feel I see more potential sometimes than just the founders themselves see in the businesses that they run, and that drives me. And I said, if that's my natural calling and that's my self-expression, then I need to do what it takes to take those companies into the market and help them realize their full potential. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do, at least for the near foreseeable future. So this the scale that we have reached at right now, we're a very lucrative company for people to acquire us, because you have the WPPs of the world, with the Omnicoms, and so there's so much of conversation that happens, on an everyday basis, saying, why don't you sell out? You'll get a good valuation. You reach that scale, and I said, "Kya karungi iske baad?" So I have absolutely. So I just have to say, I don't know anything else to do. This is what I love doing, and I'm at least going to keep doing this for the next 10 years of my life, and I'm sensing foreseeable future. So yeah, that's where I am in my journey today. One of the things that I started to do along the way was I was active in startup circles, and I was and a lot of friends. Like I said, one thing that really enthuses me and drives me is when I hear people's business ideas, when I hear people's enterprise. When I connect with their enterprise, I feel so much more ambitious for them. They sometimes, like I said, they themselves do. So I started working with startups to help them go to market. And along the way, I realized that it takes a lot out of you to do that. You have only so much time, and then I had my own business to run as well. So I said, let me give this some direction. And I started working in a more focused way with startups in ad tech and marketing tech. So what we do is we call it the Marketing Incubator, where we work with startups at different stages. Some early stage startups we might put some seed fund in and help them even in the product development stage. Because if you're an ad tech and marketing tech, I think we have a fair amount of expertise in the area to help you develop the product in a way that the market can, the way the market needs it. So we help you in the product development area, and then we take you to market. So that's what we do. Sometimes some of these businesses are already in a fairly advanced stage of their product development. So with these guys, what I've seen about technology companies is that they do fantastic work with what they develop, but to keep it relevant to the market and to really adapt it to the kind of applications that businesses need. Is where we sort of bring in and we bridge the gap. So essentially, we're working with these companies to take them to market. So the value is it at both ends. The businesses and brands that we work with get access to some of the most interesting, innovative technologies, and for the startups, they get their first few clients. Yeah, so they are able to adapt their product. They're able to actually do a proof of concept, and they get a break in a way with some of the well-known businesses. So that help them, really take their product to market and get their funding down. So I think that's really, just an ecosystem that we are creating in a way that we can add value at every level. So our clients, the businesses and brands are benefiting, the startups are benefiting, and we are benefiting as well. So it's just a very close-knit, valuable ecosystem that we have created with startups. What we also do is we connect the digital first talent with the brands and businesses that we work with again, because we see that there's so much of talent out there, and with digital and with YouTube and with social media, most of this talent is now getting visibility. But are some of these artists and are some of these artists are they able to really leverage what they can do, and are they enterprising enough to make money for themselves? The answer sometimes maybe no. So we are saying there's an opportunity here to connect talent with brands, because brands are also looking at doing something just beyond advertising and product pushes, right? So that's where what we call as co-created content comes into play. So we work with musicians, we work with different kinds of artists. In fact, we're going to initiate a project with a guy who makes sculptures in braille. So very, very unique talent, sculptures in braille. Imagine that. So again, from a CSR angle, some of the larger companies want to, create events like these or occasions like these where they're able to benefit the larger audiences, and makes for fantastic PR and marketing for these guys as well. So we're saying that there is an opportunity for us to connect talent and different kinds of talent with the businesses and brands that we work with. So that's the sort of ecosystem that we have, and that's what we've been doing. Coming to, I heard all of you say that you know more about marketing, and many of you guys are also startups. And what really is that point of inflection where you go from a certain scale to the next league or the next level? How do you quickly scale up? How do you win clients? So I'm going to sort of address some of these questions at a larger level. I mean, I'll of course come to digital marketing and how to employ digital marketing for your businesses. But to generalize something like that is going to be difficult, okay? Because the reason we are consultants is because I don't look at any business in a templatized way in the first place. Right? So you have the larger sort of tenets that you would use to employ best practices in the businesses that you work with, but it cannot be templatized. Each business is at its own journey, and you have to adapt digital marketing practices to those businesses based on where they are in their journey. But having said that, I would be happy to answer any one-on-one questions that you have when we do the interactions post this conversation. But what I wanted to really do is talk about stuff that has helped me in my journey. Like I said, success is a mountainous top, right? So I can never say that, oh, I have arrived in life. Far from that, far from that. With the mission that I have, I'm waking up feeling that मैं और क्या चीजें कर सकती हूँ आज, I mean, there's just so much to do. There is so much to do. But at least some stuff that I felt has worked for me. And I think these are more practical tips which you guys can employ in your daily lives, right? And then also coming from my experience working with so many startups, so what I feel they do right or what I feel they do wrong, right? So I'm going to talk about some stuff like that. So some stuff that I'm going to talk about maybe purely counterintuitive, but it's coming from my personal experience, so maybe it's true for me, but I'm going to share that anyway. See, one really big area where I feel startups go wrong, is that they look at themselves as startups. Yeah. So issue क्या होता है? 3-4 साल हो गए, 5 साल हो गए, कंपनी चला रहे, फिर भी मैं आपको स्टार्टअप करूँ, right? So I feel there's a problem there. What is the problem? I feel that when you identify yourself as a startup, you almost prohibit yourself from accessing that future for which you started your company. मतलब तुम अपने आप को बिजनेस की तरह नहीं देख रहे हो, अपने आप को स्टार्टअप बाहर का कोई बंदा आपको बोले कि ये स्टार्टअप है फिर भी ठीक है, बट यू शुड लुक एट योरसेल्फ एज द बिजनेस दैट यू हैव एक्चुअली स्टार्टेड set out to do. So because some of the mistakes that happen along the way is that you are okay to make financial mistakes. क्यों है स्टार्टअप है? You go out and say कि मेरा प्राइसिंग फ्लेक्सिबल है, यार कोई सुनना नहीं चाहता तुम्हारा प्राइसिंग फ्लेक्सिबल है, The moment you say मेरा pricing flexible है, people don't take you seriously. So, I mean, imagine if you are an established business, would you go to a guy and say, my pricing is flexible? You won't, right? So, it is a confidence with which you are coming out with that will define how somebody looks at you. Right? So, I said, this is an inherent issue. I mean, a startup identifying himself or herself as a startup is the biggest problem for startups. Right? So, I think that was like a bit of a revelation for me. I said, problem yahan hai. And I see that one thing that we should, stop doing is just get the word startup out of the head. You say, I am a business. I'm running this business. Identify your why of running the business and run it with as much integrity as any other business would run. So that is one. The second thing is connected with what I just said in the first point, which is that बहुत लोग काफी occasions पे यार वो तो बड़ी कंपनी है, how do we reach out to that company? Will they accept us? Will they talk to us? ये बहुत very early in my life में मैंने बड़ा छोटा दिमाग से निकाल दिया था. Right? So I said there is no big and there is no small. You are the master of your domain. And if you are the master of your domain, what makes you big or small? You could be standing as an expert in front of anybody in the world and still command the respect because you are the master of your domain. Right? So any reference point about this being a big company or a small company has never occurred to me. And only when it has not occurred to me have we gone and won those businesses. आप अगर कोई भी बिजनेस को पिच करने जाएंगे, looking at yourself as I am a small company and you're a big company, will you win that business? It's never going to be an equal relationship, right? Even if you win that business, you'll heavily discount your services for that guy because you think ये बड़ा company है, मेरे को ये profile पे चाहिए. उसने बोलना चाहिए ये company मेरे को मेरे profile पे चाहिए. So I think that is the second thing that has really worked for me. No big or small in my head. Remove those references entirely.
Yeah, I mean that's great because when you say it's small or big, I think it's also could be slightly the level of effort or the turnaround time it may take to land a small or a big business. So let's say for a startup or an early stage business, in this case, founders are always looking at a way with which they can begin. It's like a chicken and egg situation. Do they get clients first? Do they start the business first and get clients? Or do they leave the job, start? Or do they get clients first and then leave the job? So something when someone's getting into the entrepreneurship journey, what are a couple of things you would recommend they consider before taking that leap?
Identify the why. I think that is the most important. You क्यों करना चाहते हो? What's your premise of doing what you're doing? Because I'm speaking at a startup forum, but again, one issue that I have seen is that it's become sexy to have a startup. Right? Why नहीं है? But startup बोलना अपने आप को, it's become like one fad essentially. So I'm visiting to recruit for the incubator. I usually go to this web summit, Rise, and as an investor, I'll go and scout for the kind of companies which I feel will be valuable to us. So I do this all the time. यार कुछ भी शुरू कर देते हैं. मतलब कुछ सोचा नहीं है कि इसका इन्फोसिस से काम छोड़ के बंदा मतलब अपना फैमिली सामने रख के क्या कर रहे हो प्रोडक्टिविटी ऐप पे, किसको बेचना है पता नहीं है, कैसे पैसे बनाओगे पता नहीं है. So it's just I mean it's depressing after a point to see कि तुम शुरू कर रहे हो काम but you've not thought through it, and the reason you've not thought through it is you're just trying to emulate somebody. If it is your inner calling, you have thought through in your whole head, like तुम्हारा future to present हो गया होगा. You would have seen your future, you are going to know how you want to make that money, what point you are going to reach, and all the action that you are going to take will happen today. पता नहीं, it will evolve, अरे. So I think that is find your why. If you truly found your why ना, किसी को validation की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है, किसी को जाके पूछने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है कि मैं सही कर रहा हूँ. Just find your why. I think that is the thing. Then everything else is whether I should quit my job and start, or I should start and not worry about what will happen. If you have your why in place, then your action will just come to you, because there's never a right answer for this. It is your personal journey and your personal answers, right? So I think that for sure is definitely there. The other thing that I see is that one thing, you have to always keep questioning yourself, what is the value I'm driving? So that question has to be there. Always when you wake up in the morning, what is the value I am driving today? Yeah, because क्या होता है, we are in a technologically advancing world, so everything is getting disrupted every day, and there is people, you enter the market and somebody else has entered the market with the same products and services. So I see that many of them think of an idea, come up with that idea, product ho, service ho, jo bhi hai, and they get stuck to it. Right? They're not listening carefully and adapting quickly. So value driving then reduces because somebody else is doing what you're doing. Clients have found better ways of doing what you're already doing, but you're still stuck to the same also. So be okay to embrace disruption. I think embracing disruption is the key. Instead of being disrupted, you embrace disruption. Saying ये दिख रहा है सामने से disruption आ रहा है, go and embrace it, because the moment you embrace it, you will know your next step. Only to the point that you're resisting कि ये मेरे साथ नहीं हो सकता है, this cannot be, is you will not get your next step, right? So that is important. What is the value you're driving? So to some extent, I feel that some of my startups would have pivoted very early in their product journeys, but वो नहीं किया because वो एक ही तरह से सोच रहे थे कि इसी तरह से होगा. So pivot is something that you should be open to. When you're okay to say, okay, this is not working, and what's the next thing? Then the pivot will automatically work, because you have to just listen to what your customers need. Yeah, you'll have an idea, but you'll always have to be open to learning to see, okay, what are the various ways in which what I'm already doing. Because sometimes I see the platforms and products is kind of brilliant technology, but again, एक ही तरह से सोच के रखा है. 10-100 और application हो सकते हैं इसके, business के angle से. So that's the other thing. And lastly, even in this highly competitive world that we are living in today, one thing that can sometimes, the service that or the product that you have and the service and product that your competition has is going to be just the same, right? And how do you differentiate yourself in the market? One very powerful answer to that is what I call as integrity. ठीक है, तो integrity को ये बड़े word को demystify कैसे करें? So what is integrity? Integrity is something sometimes just as simple as I will call you at 5 p.m. and make that call at I will send you this at so and so time. Either send it, or the moment you know that you are not going to be able to send it, pick up the phone and call them and say I'm not able to send it. Right? So that very simply put is integrity. You've given your word to somebody. Keep that word. And if you think you can't keep that word, the moment you know that you can't keep the word, the person you have given the word to, communicate it to that person that I'm not going to be able to keep that. Many a times, early stages of business, you end up over-promising because you want that project, you want to get that business. Correct? So that's tricky, always. I think what has always worked for me is that I've been honest. Because when you're overselling or pitching, trust me, people can see through your inauthenticity. Right? authenticity is the buzzword that's going to take over the next century. Trust me. जितना authentic होगे आप, उतना connect मिलेगा आपको किसी के भी सामने बैठ के बात करने का. Big small का कोई reference ही नहीं रहेगा because you're authentic to who you are. Right? So, if what you say, you deliver. Say what you do what you say. This is integrity at the simplest level. So I think that will differentiate you from market. If you have the same product, same service, same everything, your integrity will give you references, your integrity will have you looking at in a different light altogether. Some other stuff that again has worked for me is I have at any given point in time, and I have actually learned this from a gentleman called as he has this 20 key relationships model where every year I identify 20 key relationships that I will carry through for the rest of the year. And these relationships might change from year to year depending on where you are in the business. So these relationships will give people from the industry, people from maybe different industries but have a certain kind of network, right? And you do what it takes with the discipline to be in touch with these guys. You talk about your products, you talk about your ideas to these guys, get their feedback, right? Help improvise. So ये 20 नहीं तो 10 आपके identified होने चाहिए in whatever field you are in. You figure a way out. Maybe some of them want to come as advisors. Some of them are just not happy to not be an advisor or be on the board or anything. They're just happy to spend time with you if they see that you have a meaningful conversation. Most of these guys will be busy, may not have the time. You might have to follow up more and more. But even if that happens, you should have the discipline to make sure that you are creating those scheduled interactions with these guys, identified guys for the year. So that has also really helped me get references, get visitors, get new ideas. And I feel that there is no alternative to meeting people. If you are running businesses now, you meet people. That's the only way. So there is no alternative to meeting people. There is no alternative to traveling if you want to expand your business. Right? That is meet. And filter. This guy is useful. Yes, makes sense. Keep people in mind. Profile them. I don't do it necessarily in a discipline way. I don't have an Excel sheet of all of these things, but I'm just connected that way. It happens in my brain. I just know. I do my filtering. But yeah, I think that's also a very important aspect. So to that extent, I'm so glad that so many of you over here said that you're here to network, you're here to meet people. And have the discipline. Have the discipline to be in touch. Have the discipline. If you see that it makes sense for you to be in touch with this guy, figure out an agenda. Do a next meeting. But meet. Every time I travel, I have 13, 14 hours of packed schedules. All I'm doing is just meeting people, having coffee. So I'm creating a lot of acidity for myself along the way. But yeah, but that's the point. So if you are a startup, you're a business, meet. Yeah. So I think those are some larger points that I thought I should make, which is sort of my personal experience and stuff that has helped me along the way. Like I said, digital marketing and all, तो मैं आपको नींद में भी बता दूँगी कि क्या करना है. So I'll have a conversation मतलब आप one-on-one if you guys have any specific questions on how to market your business, how to create content for your business, what is relevant, who should I reach out to. If I'm B2B, then what are the right platforms for me to be visible on? Right? If I'm a product company, how should I market myself? So all those conversations we can, I feel, have one-on-one. But yeah, this is what I have to say.
When we actually put this event out and marketed it, we mentioned IPL, we mentioned Game of Thrones, Star Wars, yeah? But I forgot that I'd actually taken a look and seen that you even do it for MasterChef. Now, everything you're saying, I'm actually putting a food angle to it because being a foodie, it's just a little crazy. So, you mentioned a few things to take care of in the process, like identifying the why, meeting people, traveling. So it kind of reminds me, like when we go to the kitchen, we follow a process.
Correct.
We take it up from our mothers. Right? We have this box of masalas.
Yeah.
You know, regardless how you want it, the masala content would change. The amount of masala would change.
Yeah.
So for startups or businesses to kind of have that amazing marketing outreach, apart from these things, what other things do you think one should, an organization or business, consider to capitalize on their marketing outreach? Like identifying the why is important. They need to be able to communicate it properly.
Yeah.
Meeting people, yes, because you need to identify who to meet and what the agenda is. And apart from that, any other things that you think they should take care of?
There are some hygiene things so today your identity is defined by what people see about you on digital. Right? Because people just end up Googling you, your name and the name of your company. So what comes up on the first page when they look up about you? What do they see when they see your website? So I think these are some hygiene things that you just need to sort out. That's one. Two is identifying the right industries that you want to be seen in. Right? So spray and pray nahi karne ka. Have a focus on which are the first few businesses that I want to target, and which are the industry forums on which these guys are available. Create industry specific case studies or solutions for those businesses, because it's very difficult for people to map and understand, especially if you're in a technology field, if you're innovating, then uska application aapko samjhane ke liye visually dikhana padega, and you will really need to explain that out. So make it easy for somebody to understand you in no time. Right? And that can happen best when you are able to contextualize your product or service. That is where content comes into play. Everybody talks about content at a larger level, content creator, content मतलब क्या? आप content contextualize करने के लिए create कर रहे हो किसी चीज को. Right? So see, that is important. So the way you look at marketing is you have who you are. Okay, you have the content pieces that you will create to talk about who you are, and then you have the amplification channels that you use to reach out in the right direction. So even a Google is an amplification channel, a Facebook is an amplification channel, right? Newspapers are amplification channels, industry trade events are amplification channels. And so you identify the most relevant amplification channel for you to reach out. Digital or not is secondary in this case. Right? I mean, it just so happens that people's media habits have moved to digital. Earlier, if you spend so much of time, 2 घंटा तो आप न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते थे सुबह में, एक अपॉइंटमेंट व्यूइंग 9 बजे टेलीविजन पे न्यूज़ का होता था. You don't do those things anymore. Your just habits have shifted. So if your habits have shifted, then automatically where business and brands to talk to you will shift. So they're talking to you on your mobile, they're talking to you on your desktop today. Right? So ultimately the channel is irrespective. And so I'm also one of the biggest, I'm of the opinion calling yourself as a digital marketing company is so passe. You don't call yourself a digital marketing. I end up still calling as biggest challenge. If you ask me what's my biggest challenge is just educating the client. कि भाई ये digital और traditional ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं. Customer doesn't look at you like that, or a customer doesn't consume your advertising as, oh, this is digital and this is traditional. You are just integrating with this environment to do what I call as the brand storytelling. Look at this as a tunnel where you introduced your business or brand at the start of the tunnel to the customer, and then at different touch points in the tunnel, as he's going through his daily life, the brand and the business is talking to me at the most relevant spots, and he comes out, he has a story to tell about your business. Yeah, this is what I experienced with all these guys. Right? So I think that's how you design marketing. So yeah, I think that's the answer to the question.
Great. So my next question is...
So actually I just want to share a few anecdotes here.
Yeah,
you mentioned Game of Thrones and all of these guys, right? So recently, so we've gone berserk. We've just been, all we do is be very bold with everything that we do. फिर देखा जाएगा so जो होना है. So we were very bold with what we do. So what we did was for अभी Logan का हुआ था ना, तो Hugh Jackman के लिए हमें video. So we said, what do we do? Like we really wanted to bring the sentiment of the country towards Hugh Jackman together. So we did one large scale, thing on social. We are saying that all over the country, you guys just give your sentiments for Hugh Jackman. And it was a bold project because though we had to pull off that entire thing. So we got a bunch of responses coming together. And then we said, okay, what do we do with this now? Right? So what we did was, we tagged Hugh Jackman. And we said, we edited the video very beautifully. We tagged Hugh Jackman and we sent out the video. So what I've seen is that we create lab-like situations for virality, so to say. It's not, we never say this is what will be the outcome of it, but it's almost like you're putting the right ingredients in place for something big to happen. And the next morning we know that, you guys should just look this up, and actually media has covered it in a big way as well. Hugh Jackman, when he's running on the beach, saw the video, and some of these videos featured people who work with me as well. So they were like, he shot a video for himself, and all he said was that I am going to keep this video with me forever. Right? So that coming from Hugh Jackman was fantastic for Star, was fantastic for the country as well, because he spoke specifically to India and he said, India, like I love you, for the love that you give me. And that is how, suddenly the equity. So, and Van Heusen was the presenting sponsor for Logan. Right? So the amount of equity Van Heusen got for this sort of an activity was phenomenal. So at any given point in time, so I always say that you don't get paid for certainty. Look, business, तुम ये 100% कर पाओगे, ये तुम्हें पता है. इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट से कभी बिजनेस उठाते नहीं है, उसका वैल्यू नहीं मिलता. इनफैक्ट वो अनसर्टेनिटी में जब आप बिजनेस उठाते हो और फिर उसको एग्जीक्यूट करते हो, उसके लिए आपको पेमेंट है. Nothing is certain in life, but have the integrity to see it through. When I'm saying integrity to see it through, do what you say what you do. Right? So that is where your confidence and being brave and being bold will also play out.
Great. So following up on landing big clients, right? I'll try and focus on the IPL teams. Because all the IPL teams are owned by business houses that are really big. I mean, they invest in money in sports. So they already have identified or worked with different vendors in different fields. That will be marketing, that will be sales, that will be distribution, whatever it may be. They have these empaneled vendors as part of their business houses already. How does an organization break through that barrier of vendors, present their capabilities and win? What would you recommend organizations and individuals do to be able to do business with, not specifically IPL?
No, IPL का मैं बता दूँगा, because we won a bunch of IPL teams and clients and so much. So IPL को ही ले लो as an example, right? सबसे ज़्यादा तो stories घूमती है market में कि बड़ा tough है क्रैक करना. So this is what happens, and honestly, let me tell you, people, I don't know what fun they get. किसी को दिखाने का एंटरटेनमेंट होता है ना, सब पैसा खिलाना पड़ता है वहाँ पे नहीं होता. This is what we hear, and let me tell you, कहीं पे मैंने किसी को लाइफ में कभी पैसा नहीं खिलाया. And that is one, and two is that, like I said, don't go by hearsay. I know jack shit about my competition. Somebody, I was putting a business plan together. It is hilarious, but so my financial advisor, she sat down for doing a valuation of the company because we'll raise some debt right now to get into new markets. But my financial advisor is saying valuation ke liye, so who is your competition? I'm like, good question. I've never thought about that. I genuinely am thinking of who's my competition. There's some companies and all that came to my mind. What is it that they make maximum money? I said, I don't know. I really don't know, because I have never focused on what other people are doing. Okay, some awareness I have, wisdom I have, कि हाँ ये चीजें चल रहा है market में. Right? So focusing on what people are telling you about how to get into, it's a very different thing, What is as lived for you? आपने बात किया है, आपको किसी ने बोला है, आपने ट्राई किया है, वो करो ना, फिर आपको खुद समझ आएगा. So even when all these IPL teams and all happened, nothing. I just told my sales head, I said these 3-4 people we need to talk to. She picked up the phone, she spoke. Nobody had even approached them. So, so then sometimes we are just building all this in our own head. देखो big और small का reference निकाल जाता है ना दिमाग से, सब ठीक हो जाता है. ये बीमारी है एक बड़ी, big small.
Great answers, a lot of questions. And
cold call or what?
Cold call किया यार, सही में.
So perfect.
फोन उठाया, बात कर दी बड़े कॉन्फिडेंस से. वो बोलती है कि you don't know about is too bad for you. So it was just as simple as that. I mean, of course, we had a body of work to showcase and we had a credentials. So जो काम करते हैं, we've never been out in media so much, So only now that I have a PR agency who takes care of our work. So somewhere I should invest in marketing ourselves for the work that we've done. But per se, मेरा DNA है ही नहीं. My DNA is onboard the client and do phenomenal work for that. Phenomenal work for that. The work will speak for itself. So when we go and talk to clients, we have a body of work to show. We have a fantastic body of work to show, and that does the job. And I think that's all we need to focus on. Marketing will happen by itself. Just do great work.
So, I know we have a lot of questions, and I really want to open it up to all the audience to ask these questions. So, I'm going to club a lot of questions together in the next one, especially being a female founders month with Startup Grind. What we see is there's, you mentioned remove this thought process about difference in approach, difference in who you are, what you've done so far, and stuff like that. As long as you can identify the why and the benefit that your client can get from you. But with regards to Female Founders Month, what I would really like to ask is, we see few number of women entrepreneurs as compared to, just the ratio of total number of entrepreneurs and the female entrepreneurs. So there was also this couple of studies on Quora where, some guys had a pseudo profile as a woman and they started getting more likes and stuff, right? People have actually written about it, and surprisingly I've read about it. So, and someone even mentioned on LinkedIn, someone told me on LinkedIn, 2 sales professionals from one organization switched profiles, started posting the same content they were. So the man started doing it as the woman started doing it as the man. And the woman the man's profile was still landing more clients. So, with these things in consideration, like I said, very confusing, a lot of questions clubbed together. Your advice to female founders that you really like them to, focus on.
No, I'm just laughing because कभी दिमाग में ऐसा नहीं है कि women entrepreneurs. So there's so many forums that I go to. More recently, of course, my early journey, not too many people knew me, so I wasn't invited to so many places. But then, of course, when I started to get a little bit known and I used to get invited for this Women Entrepreneur Award and all of that. So एक मेरा simple question था कि यार तुम man entrepreneur कभी बोलते हो लाइफ में? तो ये women entrepreneur क्या हुआ? Entrepreneur होता है. हाँ. तो I think just being fortunate, that my gender has never occurred to me in my growth or my journey. So some people come and say, women don't get funding. I can tell you at least 10 people along the way in my business who have said, I want to fund your company. अब तुम अपने आप को औरत की तरह देखोगे, तो then somebody will also look at you like that, no? So when you have the confidence and you have the, you have in your being, you have everything that it takes to be a successful entrepreneur or businessman, to build an enterprise. Why will somebody distinguish in their head about you're a woman or you're a man? Till the time that you feel small about it, you're saying, family, bache. I have a 10-year-old and I have a family. I have a husband and I have all the things that women typically say, comes in the way of their running a business. So like I said, मैं generalize नहीं कर सकती हूँ. I've got a lot of backlash also for saying stuff like this. They're saying, oh, you are talking about the 1%, of the population of the country. You don't understand. Women don't get access to, as many facilities that you have got. There's still a stigma we are fighting. That's true, yeah. Maybe all that is true. I'm not disputing that at all. But somewhere this change needs to start. Why can't it be with all of us? I cannot go out to change the world and how people think about me. That's not my call. But I can just start by being who I am, being true to who I am. And by saying that, let gender not occur to you in the way of your being. So, again, one small anecdote. UAE mein, we've gone to pitch, and I have an all-women's team in my Dubai office. Okay, so I have an all-women's team. But कभी recruit करते हुए ऐसा सोचा नहीं कि अरे all-women team है, man है. It is just an all-women's team. So we had a pitch or a presentation with a very traditional Emirati company. So meeting में चले गए. There was a boardroom full of, the traditional Emirati men in their dishdash, that white robe that they wear. It's a boardroom full of. मैं गई, मेरे साथ मेरे और 2 colleagues थे. I made the whole presentation. And आ गई मैं बात. And not until somebody told me, do you understand you have created a history of sorts? I've never in a traditional company like this has a woman in a short dress gone and presented to so many, Emirati women, and I think they're in a bit of a shock right now. But listen, why I'm saying it doesn't matter because I won the business here. It genuinely doesn't matter. So like I said, only to the extent that you are looking at yourself as a woman, world will look at you as a woman. I mean, see, I don't mean it in a derogatory way. When I'm saying using the word woman, I'm just meaning all the stuff, all the limitations that come with saying that I'm a woman. Right? I'm absolutely proud of being a woman. Right? And I think that we are also genetically built in a way where we end up multitasking. And there are some edges. I mean, what do you call that? We have advantages that, of being a woman. We are not just born multitaskers. We have a very holistic way of looking at things. That comes naturally to us. So I'm very proud of it. I say, don't use woman in a limiting way. That's all.
So, final 2 questions. I was going to ask, work-life balance, especially for women entrepreneurs. Just entrepreneurs.
Yeah, don't ask.
Just entrepreneurs. What would you recommend to entrepreneurs to maintain or develop a good work-life balance?
So, ये एक duality लाइफ में कभी आना नहीं चाहिए. वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस. वर्क आवर लाइफ नहीं है. Right? So one thing that again when I used to start thinking, I have to give time to my daughter, I have to give time to my husband, my family, ये सब जब हो रहा था ना, तब एक realization ये हुआ कि यार ये 2 चीजें नहीं हैं. These are not like, if you're an entrepreneur, forget entrepreneur यार, if you're just doing what you love in your life, and if you're working somewhere, and I feel that just being able to contribute tangibly to any organization also I feel is the highest form of enterprise. So I really don't differentiate. I mean, I can tell you I have so many entrepreneurs working with me today in my organization. Okay, they may not have the title of owning a company and all of that. Trust me, they're like kick-ass guys, and I see that as the highest form of enterprise. Everybody, because see, when you run a company, there are a lot of other things that come with it. There is compliance, many of these guys, you guys over here, कि finance संभालना पड़ता है, ये वो है. So it's good and bad. I mean, sometimes you can choose not to do all that and just focus on what you are best at. Yeah? So and just जहाँ पे आपका सबसे ज़्यादा खूबी है वहाँ पे खिलो अच्छी तरह से. So work-life balance के context में, I don't look at this as 2 different things. I have one integrated life, and in one integrated life, everybody who is a relevant party for me in my life is included in that. Right? So a very practical way in which I do things is that I speak a lot to my daughter. about what work I do. So even from the age of 3 and 4, we have been talking about what I do at work. And she's quite an expert on digital marketing. Thank you. I speak about my clients, and trust me, kids are so smart and sharp nowadays that they get it. Some strange conversation I remember when she was, I think, 3 or 4 years old, and I was stressed one night, and I had huge media monies to be paid, or could paperwork to learn all of these things along the way, right? So it's not an easy way ever through in life. So I was very stressed, and she was asking me, and she was asking for my time, and I told her that, so instead of shooing her away or saying that, getting stressed about the fact that she's also asking for my time, I sat her and I spoke to her, and I remember she was 4 years old, and I told her that, I have a client, and these guys are not paying me the money, and I need to figure something out because, I have a cash flow issue. And I really told her in an adult language, okay? Because I couldn't find the child substitute for what I was saying. And all of that, and then she just heard me out. But then what I know is that she got it in her, and she said, she just felt like she wanted to be there to support me in some way. And then 2-3 years later, things got resolved, of course, and the same client I was speaking to some 3 years later. And then she asked me, Mama, your money issue got resolved or what? And she was 7 at that time. So it's amazing, I still have goosebumps when I say this, because it's just about how much you're able to include people who are relevant to you in your life. Just talk to your family. I spend time talking to my parents about what I do. So I think that way, when you're participating in their life and they're participating in your life, it just becomes one integrated whole. It's not the duality of, work and life are two different things. Work and life has to be the same. That's how things will work out for you.
Great. Final question. Any books or articles or something that you recommend us to read that you believe would be a great value to us in our business, no matter what it is?
Yeah. So, I think I'll say 2 things. The best players have coaches in life. So, even the best player, the world's best player will still have a coach. तो अपने life के coach को identify. And this coach could be transitioning. You don't get stuck to one coach. I'm not talking about but honestly, identify a coach in your life, and that can really bring a lot of value. It has brought value to my life at every point. So finding the right coach is important. So attract a good coach in your life. And the second thing is that the one, it's not a book really, but it's not a training, it's not a book. It's called the Ontological Model of Leadership by Werner Erhard. Okay, so you can write this down. It's called Werner Erhard. He's a very, very well-known leadership guru in the world. And he has a model called as Ontological Model of Leadership that he has developed. And if anything, it's life transforming. So like I said, it's not training. Training ke level pe skills improve hote hain. It's like life badal jati hai. It's just that I have personally learned a lot of stuff from about integrity, for example, one of the things that I just spoke about. Simple concepts, but it can just change the way you look at life. And it's a very difficult text to read. So in fact, my coach delivered this to me. The Werner Erhard. It's a very difficult test. So, in fact, Werner Erhard has put up the entire course material, which if he delivers, he charges at least, I think India when he was here, he charged 1 lakh to deliver the course over 1 week. But he's put up the whole course material for free online. Okay, so you can download Ontological Model of Leadership and read it. He says that ये पढ़ के अगर तुमको समझ में आ गया ना, तो you should get it for free. You should not be charged for that. So yeah, I mean, you should look that up, Ontological Model of Leadership for Werner Erhard. That's been life transforming for me for sure. And like I said, Some other stuff that I have really enjoyed reading, but again, early days in my life has been Shubhuto Bakchi's. They're very, very practical books for building businesses. So there's a whole range of books. There's one book called Elephant Catchers, which I really like. The Professional is very good. So yeah, I think these are some books. But I think, like I said, the one that just changed the way I live today is not a leadership and get a coach. I cannot stress enough about the need for a coach because क्या होता है एक है कि हम जैसे when we grow up in our lives, right? And mythology also has a lot of connect with this, right? So when we grow up, हमारे life में बहुत सारे default contexts create हो जाते हैं, you know. So you're growing up in a certain way. एक world view होता है, you know. So you are told that this is how things are, and the point is that outside how things are is where the realm of possibility is, right? So the more you remove this is how things are from your head as cobwebs, निकाल दो उसको. ये real है यार, कुछ real नहीं होता है like. It's only here. So so just remove those cobwebs and suddenly you have like a whole world of possibility and potential in front of you. So a coach helps you do that. आपका कोई भी मतलब एक set frame of reference या world view रहेगा, तो एक counter intuitive question पूछने वाला आदमी लाइफ में चाहिए. Have that. It could be in the form of a friend, could be in the form of a spouse.
Great. So one immediate learning that I've actually taken from this is integrity. So when I mentioned the last question, really the last question during this recording. So Sowmya, thank you so much again for being a part of this and amazing, sharing all your insights and that's really valuable with regards to how startups or let's say businesses can really win big business. Thank you again so much for being a part of this and allowing us to host you for a wonderful event here at Startup Brain. Thank you.
Thank you.